Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very much for tuning in. We have a lot to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure also to hit subscribe. To make sure to get the to hit subscribe on the subscription bell for all my videos to make sure you get all the notifications. This is a very, very important segment, ladies and gentlemen. This is only going to abide by YouTube policies. As I always do, this will abide not only by YouTube policies, but this will utilize the public record to prove that Roger Stone is actually quite victorious over the Mueller probe. What Roger Stone is doing, even though a lot of what's taken place is self-induced with Roger Stone, he is a showman. A lot of what he said prior to him getting indicted was a bunch of rubbish and nonsense. For example, he didn't work with WikiLeaks. He wasn't an intermediary, and he did not ever meet or know Julian Assange. How do I know this? The only reason I know this is the public record. Julian Assange didn't need an intermediary. He didn't need to utilize somebody like Stone to for WikiLeaks, DNC, or Podesta emails to be popular. He didn't need any of that. WikiLeaks doesn't need an intermediary, but that's another story. If you look at the indictment of Roger Stone, he's actually won. To my super chat, by the way, thank you so very much. You give me every incentive to rock these live streams, and you support my voice. Document, indictment of Roger Stone. This is Lawfare. Okay, this is a lawfareblog.com. You can look right here. The indictment of Roger Stone. It's right here. I'll put the link here. There's the link. Lawfareblog.com. This is actually a Law and Crime and Lawfare blog. They're more liberal. Okay, but at least there's some good information. There is some good information. Okay, now look, in the United States District Court for the District of Columbia, United States of America versus Roger Jason Stone Jr., defendant. What has H.A. Goodman been telling you for 2 years? I've been telling you this based on the public record for 2 years. CrowdStrike is the basis of all the nonsense. So, introduction. The grand jury of the District of Columbia charges by, in, or around May 2016, the Democratic National Committee, DNC, and the Democratic Campaign Committee became aware that their computer systems had been compromised by unauthorized intrusions and hired a security company, Company One, which is CrowdStrike, to identify the extent of the intrusions. Number one, why would you do this, and why would this be the basis of an indictment? So he's indicted on process crimes, obstruction of an official proceeding, 5 counts of false statements, 1 count of witness tampering. Oh my God. This has nothing to do with collusion. The narrative, the irrational, nonsensical, absurd, ludicrous narrative is in the introduction. It's in the first paragraph, paragraph 1. By, in, or around May 2016, the DNC and DCCC became aware that their computer systems had been compromised by unauthorized intrusions and hired a security company, which is CrowdStrike Company One, to identify the extent of the intrusions. They should never have done that. The fact that Roger Stone is fighting this is not good for Mueller. It's not good for Democrats. It's not good for Democrats, and it's not good for Mueller because it exposes the myth. It exposes the myth. It exposes the myth. The myth is based, it's predicated upon the security company. In what era in United States politics or in world politics do you have a company paid for by a political organization to serve as the basis for a national security investigation. The United States intelligence community has a budget well over $35 billion. You're talking probably 40 to 50 billion. Over that, actually. But the top three, the NSA, the FBI, CIA, you're looking at just combined. So well over 30 billion, 35 billion. Why would you need CrowdStrike? And if you were a political party, you hired an organization, the organization, oh yeah, says, oh yeah, you know, the Russians hacked your emails. Well, then why wouldn't you give the servers to the U.S. government? According to Gizmodo and BuzzFeed and the Daily Beast and the Washington Post, Company One gave, which is CrowdStrike, gave the United States government images and copies of DNC servers, many of them, numerous. Why would that be used during an official United States national security investigation if a political party paid for this company to look at their own servers? Do you allow a defense attorney? Do you allow a defense attorney for a bank robber to give evidence, to give fingerprints to the DA? No, you don't. Does that make any sense at all? I mean, does that make any sense at all? Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't make any sense at all. So Roger Stone, the longer he goes on with this, will expose all of this. They can't find any collusion because it was a complete myth, hoax, fabricated propaganda. It was a gigantic lie. So then to save face, just like they tried to save face for losing $1.2 billion when they had every single newspaper and every single cable company and every single media organization and celebrity and late night talk show, and they said that Hillary was going to win. To save face, they started what Peter Strzok called an insurance policy. They had no evidence. All they had was contacts and suspicion and possible collusion and very overreaching, nebulous phrases that could mean anything. Ambiguous. Trump's contacts with Russia. Well, what about Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton's contacts and connecting the dots with Clinton? No, you can't do that because you have to use absolute A plus B equals C logic with Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton. If you do, then you are a horrible, horrible person. With Trump, you don't even need any evidence. There's no money flow. There's no nothing, but connect the dots. Because something had to have happened. Because look at this person spoke to this person, and this person spoke to that person. Meanwhile, Vladimir Putin and Bill Clinton met with Vladimir Putin. That's according to Newsweek. So then you go on. It goes on or about July 2016. So you see, in or around, there's no evidence there. They have no evidence. And then they go on to say, oh, he was an intermediary between WikiLeaks and the Trump campaign. No, he wasn't. He's a go-between, an intermediary. Again, these are suspicious words that mean nothing. This is a fantasy that resonates only with political operatives and people who want to believe. I speak to very intelligent people who are Democrats. And they have no clue who CrowdStrike is, and they don't understand what happened with the Steele dossier. They don't know that both of those things were paid for by Hillary Clinton and utilized to fund a complete fantasy. They don't understand any of it. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care, and they don't they just want to hear what MSNBC and CNN says. They just care about that. That's all they care about. So at the end of the day, Roger Stone is fighting it, and he's going to win because there's the basis of this is an illegal investigation. You cannot start when you see like CNN journalists or like Jeffrey Toobin on CNN, legal analyst. He makes the assumption that this is a lawful investigation. It's not lawful. It was started as an insurance policy. Peter Strzok stated that. They utilized a Steele dossier and a CrowdStrike assessment that was purchased by Clinton and the Democratic Party. She literally purchased her own fabricated myth to cover up the fact that she committed crimes. And you know she committed crimes because in the FBI, in James Comey's statement, and I have this in my last upload, say I just use public record. I don't need to fabricate things. You don't need to fabricate anything. By the way, check out my RT Crosstalk segment below and my latest HA Second Amendment segment. The best grouping I've ever done, and actually a great grouping for anyone. 44 Magnum. Ruger Super Red Hawk from 20 feet away. I'm talking about the groupings this wide. It's amazing. It's amazing. But if you look right here, and Matthew Whitaker says, hey, you know what? The email probe, the Mueller probe is done. So we're going to get the report soon. But here, Ethan Long, here's the FBI statement. Ethan Long, thank you, Ethan Long. Is there any truth to the claim that made the result? No, there is zero truth to that at all. Zero truth. Because A, we would have known the names of people who, God forbid. So that there's zero truth at all. Ethan, thank you so very much. There's zero truth. The problem is that the Democratic Party views WikiLeaks as an existential issue because if the truth is known about them, then, Ram Lafara, I agree with you 100%. But look at, there is evidence of potential violations of the statutes regarding the handling of classified information. So there you go. Although there is evidence, this is James Comey, although there is evidence of potential violations of the statutes regarding the handling of classified information and of, stop there, Comey. That was the one thing that you said, one of the few things that you said that actually could exonerate you in history if you do the right thing eventually. But Comey is like a, you're talking about, a reptilian human being. Our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case. James Comey's judgment was not only did not only usurp the authority of Loretta Lynch, but it breaks protocol and it proves that he was insubordinate. All the reasons to fire someone. When James Comey was fired, he was fired lawfully. He stated on July 6th, although there is evidence of potential violations, James Baker, the FBI legal counsel, said that she should have been indicted. I was right. I had the pulse of what's going on. So when, like I said, when they try to say, oh, indictments are imminent, they're doubling down on their own stupidity. They're actually exonerating me. They're actually bolstering and vindicating everything that I've stated. Because if you are defending Clinton for not getting indicted, you are also defending a criminal cover-up of her crimes. It was illegal for Strzok and Comey and McCabe and all of them to do what they did to cover up Clinton's crimes. You cannot have a precedent like that. That's why I keep harping on it. If we have a precedent like that, we have no more intelligence community. We have no more state. You cannot have a precedent. That's the thing, a precedent. The legal precedent is that she transferred illegally top secret and special access program intelligence. If you look at the FBI right here, just do a word search, potential violations, you'll see the paragraph. It's right here. There it is. That's the FBI link. Although there is evidence of potential violations of the statutes regarding the handling of classified information, our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring the case. Prosecutors necessarily weigh a number of factors before bringing charges. Nobody asked Comey to do this. There are obvious considerations like strength of evidence, especially regarding intent. The intent, you cannot accidentally transfer special access program intelligence. The intent obviously is there. You don't accidentally rob a bank. You don't accidentally rob the United States government of special access and top secret intelligence and then place that onto a server outside the United States government. And not to mention, she had thousands of emails that were classified retroactively, which should have been used. Retroactive classification has been used to charge people already. She had 2,000 plus. Responsible decisions also consider the context of a person's actions. The context was obviously to hide her Clinton Foundation emails because she deleted 33,000. Now, if you talk about perjury, one reason Roger Stone will be victorious is all he has to do. This is a roll call article. Roll call. House panel lays out case against Clinton that Clinton perjured herself. In the Benghazi statements she made. The first example they cite is Clinton saying in response to a question about emails she handled on her private server, there was nothing marked classified on my emails, either sent or received. She lied under oath with intent to deceive. That is called perjury. That is called perjury. When you lie with the intent to deceive. She intended to deceive because she continually lied throughout the campaign. How do we know? Because she didn't even let President Obama know. There's the roll call article. There was nothing marked classified on my emails. Not only was there information marked classified, there was information born classified. So then when Comey says there are obvious considerations like the strength of the evidence, especially regarding the intent, the evidence was overwhelming. The intent was overwhelming, but even U.S. Code 793F, you don't need intent. So Roger Stone, the Mueller probe, it all goes back to Clinton's emails. And that's exactly, eventually, Roger Stone, one thing he does know is he knows the criminal behavior of the Clintons. When FBI Director James Comey, this is roll call, testified before the Oversight Government Reform Committees in July, he said the Clinton statement was not true. There you go. There you go. The chairman offered a second example of perjury. Clinton's testimony that her attorneys reviewed every single email on her private server to identify work-related messages that should be returned. No, they did word searches of 33,000 emails, three of her attorneys, including Cheryl Mills, without government oversight. It's the most absurd thing you've ever heard in your life. It's so absurd that if Trump were to do it, you would have BuzzFeed camping out on Trump's lawn every 2 seconds, like 24 hours a day. It's so absurd. It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. They deleted and destroyed government records, and they didn't even have the classification. They didn't have classification to view special access program intelligence, which was found on Clinton's laptop. But if you look at the Stone indictment, there's nothing about collusion. There's nothing about any specific crime that Stone committed in relation to Trump or WikiLeaks or to anyone. President Trump did not do anything illegal during the campaign. Hillary Clinton did things that were illegal, and she conducted people to commit illegal acts. So it wasn't just her. It was people around her also. In a third example, they cite Clinton's testimony that she provided the FBI with one private server. With the one private server she used while she was Secretary of State. Comey contradicted that when he said Clinton used several servers. She lied throughout her Benghazi testimony. Finally, the chairman cites Clinton's assertion that she gave the State Department all the work-related emails she had, which were subsequently turned up. No, Comey testified they found thousands of work-related emails that were not returned, and they continue to find emails. Guess what? Guess what? This is August 15th, 2016. You want to know where other emails were found? Oh, Anthony Weiner's laptop. Oh, Anthony Weiner's laptop. In October of 2016. You want to talk about perjury? You need a if the Senate email probe is legit, it won't be long before Clinton is indicted. And when Clinton is indicted, ladies and gentlemen, everything that I've been saying for 3 years that I've taken all this heat, well, I don't consider it heat, but perhaps other people would have. Everything that I've been saying will be vindicated. There's a new Clinton email probe. The Mueller probe is ending. Now, if the Mueller probe continues and they don't write their report until a year from now, who cares? At this point right now, they're even CNN and MSNBC, they're even writing articles like why you should still believe in the Mueller probe. Ladies and gentlemen, the public record. Carl, I like Tulsi Gabbard, but I'm voting for Trump in 2020 because Tulsi will not be able to win because Democrats are they're controlled by Hillary Clinton and the Democratic Party and very bizarre theories from universities that rely only on euphemisms. And these euphemisms, and I explain in my RT Crosstalk segment, these euphemisms are jettisoned when it's like Hillary Clinton, who's the nominee. So I like Tulsi Gabbard a lot, but I just don't think that she can. I think they'll cheat her. 2024 is a different story. Thank you, Carl. So, I mean, you can read, you read this indictment. It's so funny. The whole thing is like, oh my goodness, Roger Stone said this, and then Roger Stone on or about, okay. Oh my God. Trump campaign official directed Stone about any additional releases. Oh my God. It's like WikiLeaks was constantly saying, well, first of all, another thing that is ridiculous is if you look at Bloomberg, just look at Bloomberg. Just look at Bloomberg. Emily Chang interviewed Kim.com in 2015. I keep saying this. All they have to do is look at Emily Chang. Just got back from New Zealand where I spoke with Kim.com at his mansion. Catch it this season, Studio One. This is April 29, 2015. This is a tweet from Emily Chang. Okay. She interviewed Kim.com. In the interview, Kim.com states that Julian Assange is going to be Hillary Clinton's worst nightmare. Just got back from New Zealand where I spoke with Kim.com at his mansion. Catch it this season on Studio One. This literally Emily Chang of Bloomberg could literally be the one person, well, her interview could be the one thing that completely ends the Mueller probe. All Trump needs to do, and I'm not being facetious, quote the interview, the Bloomberg interview This is Bloomberg. Kim.com. Okay. Mega upload. Emily Cheng traveled to Auckland, New Zealand to interview Kim.com, founder of Mega Upload and the target of the biggest copyright. Okay, Speaker.com's fan, just outside. He opens up a legal relationship with fellow tech outlaw Julian Assange and political ambitions. So here's the actual interview where he says in 2015, long before it's unbelievable too, because like it's so apparent. It's the answer is right there in front of us. And he says, Kim.com, Julian Assange will be Hillary's worst nightmare. It's in the interview. How would he know this in 2015? This is Bloomberg.com. Julian Assange will be Hillary Clinton's worst nightmare. This is a Bloomberg.com article. It's not from MySpace. It's not from like super secret Martians speaking through America Online. You have mail. Fisher of Men, HA, what effect, if any, do you feel or hope consequences of the scandal on media bias and how news is reported? Honestly, most Americans are sick of MSM. Fisher of Men, I think that all of this will have a detrimental effect on the media going forward, but I think the media is an emotional tool. Fisher of Men, I think the media is an emotional tool more so than a tool utilized by citizens for truth, to find truth. We don't want to find truth from our goal as Americans is not to find truth from media. Our goal as Americans is to believe anything, unfortunately, believe anything that correlates with our desires, our wants. That's why you get people believing in Q, which completely debunked. And I'm happy to have been one of the people who probably the first person to really completely tear it apart. You know, people want to believe, and whether it's Q or whether it's Roger Stone working with WikiLeaks or whether it's Trump working with Russia, people want to believe what they want to believe. They don't want to believe anything else. And the media is not, there is no more Walter Cronkite or Edward R. Murrow. There's no more American ethos in journalism. I mean, look, when I'm reading a book on the Hall of Fame, and I love Babe Ruth. I love Babe Ruth. But Babe Ruth had sports writers that were his friends, that partied with him. Babe Ruth had sports writers that partied with him. Now, I love Babe Ruth. He was an amazing, he's one of, you could say my heroes in life, I love Babe Ruth, but I'm saying Babe Ruth understood public relations. He was also a very good guy. Okay, he was also a very good guy. But, and this is a great book, by the way. Let me make sure I can do it justice. It's, I believe, it's Hall of Fame Confidential. So the media it's more public relations. Hall of Fame Confidential book. Yeah, Cooperstown Confidential. Sorry, Heroes, Rogues, and the Inside Story. That's what I'm reading. And it's a great book. It's by Zev Chaffetz. Heroes, Rogues, and the Inside Story of the Baseball Hall of Fame. Cooperstown. So it's awesome. It's a great book. I recommend it. It's a great book. But I mean, if you look at the way journalism, I mean, you're talking about the 20s. So Fisher of Men, I think that journalism has always been public relations to a great extent. Journalism has always been public relations. to a great extent, but never, perhaps never to such an extent. Perhaps never to such an extent. So it's just we care more about bolstering our views than actually looking at the public record. See, what I do on this channel, not to toot my own horn, but what I do, and the reason I'm always in good standing with YouTube, is that I just give public record. The public record is enough. You don't have to say, oh, these super secret Martians, through smoke signals and messenger pigeons are looking out for you. Or you don't have to say, well, Trump worked with Russia. Well, how do you know? Well, connect these dots. Well, there are no dots to connect. Because if that's the logic you utilize, Clinton should have already been indicted and in prison. Because those dots with Clinton regarding Uranium One, regarding the transfer of top secret intelligence, they're obviously more in terms of criminal behavior, pay-to-play schemes left and right, money flows and the beneficial outcomes taking place. I mean, it's left and right. But the media pushes a narrative. If journalists generally, if you have 98% of journalists who are I'm with her, if you have 98% of journalists who can't stand Trump, then you have 98% of news stories that are going to further any myth, especially if the FBI knows that all they have to do is get in bed with the media and they could further anything. If you can further anything and people will believe it, I mean, if you could further any type of narrative and people will believe it, well, there you go. All you need to do is continually have CNN, MSNBC, The Washington Post repeat the same ridiculous, nonsensical myths. And then the hilarious part, the hilarious thing is like when they're like, oh, well, Trump lied 8,000 times. Like if they utilize that, because a lot of the things they say he lies about are their opinions. So when he says like, well, you need a wall for border security, then they're like, it's a lie. How do we know? Because you don't really need a wall. You can just have drones. It's like, well, that's your opinion on his opinion. It's not a lie. It's like, no, you're now basically saying so. Oh, and so Clinton using her server for convenience could easily be viewed as a lie. She didn't. It was not. It was inconvenient. That's far more of a lie than Trump saying you need a wall for border security. A wall would obviously be better for border security, even if you don't think a wall is necessary. It's still another more secure, structure. So, but that's what they do. That's what they do. All they care about, all they care about is perpetuating whatever myths that suit them. In this case, the Democratic Party and the media are, you saw from WikiLeaks emails, you saw all the media personalities that foment. You have media personalities from the New York Times. You had one guy, what was his name, who actually gave Tony Podesta an article to review. I mean, they're not giving Manafort, they weren't giving Trump articles to review about them. I mean, you're talking at this point about public relations. It's not journalism. It's not journalism. You're talking about public relations. I mean, so that's the thing. I mean, you're at this point right now, you're talking about public relations. But getting back to Kim.com, Julian Assange will be Hillary Clinton's worst nightmare in 2016. This is Emily Chang, the Bloomberg interview. Here's the article. Here's the Bloomberg article. It's right there. It's not difficult. Forgotten millennials. Keep speaking truth to power. Public record is key. Thank you, forgotten millennials. Thank you. It's true. The public record is key. You said it perfectly. All you need is the public record. All you need is the public record. And then the State of the Union, that's a hilarious one too. So now you have Trump. Now he's going to perform the State of the Union, which I think he should have turned into a campaign. Tuesday, February 5th. Donald Trump accepts Nancy Pelosi's offer to deliver State of the Union. That's hilarious. Blame Democrats for the State of the Union circus. That's great. Look at that. That's in the Atlantic. Look at that. The tradition has mutated into something bigger, dumber, and more dysfunctional than the framers could ever have imagined. Look. Democrats, one of the great days in U.S. history will be the day that Trump wins his reelection. It will be the day that Trump wins his reelection. Because that day more than any other, I mean, it's really all you need to know. It'll be all you need to know regarding the fact that the media is not as powerful as it thinks it is. By the way, check out my upload. Regarding, and you know what's taking place, eventually Clinton indictments. She committed crimes. Do you understand? It's not difficult. It's not difficult to understand. Trump did not commit crimes. Clinton committed crimes. There's the difference. You talk about perjury. She committed perjury. Nacho's live stream. Thank you. Hope all is well. Hope all is well. But ladies and gentlemen, it's like it's all going down. It's all taking place. And then you have William Barr. And William Barr is going to be very soon confirmed. Postpones, just like, here. Senate panel postpones William Barr's vote amid Democratic concerns. Well, it doesn't matter. They have the right to postpone, and it's until February 7th, and they'll vote. The committee postponed its vote on Barr as one of 46 nominations the panel was scheduled to vote on Tuesday, but delayed it till February. Of course, they don't want, in both his public, Barr has repeatedly refused to give senators any firm guarantee he will release Mueller report because he doesn't have to. If Trump is not indicted, which he won't be because he didn't commit any crimes, there's not any evidence. He didn't have to work. First of all, he didn't work with Russia, but he didn't have to defeat Clinton. In 2015, I said she would not win. So all of this in 2019, if you just flip the script a little bit, if Lindsey Graham just does a little bit of his job, if William Barr just looks a little bit at the Senate, at probing Peter Strzok, you then get Clinton eventually indicted and people around her indicted. And then you get Comey and McCabe and Strzok and all of them. They don't need to go to Gitmo, ladies and gentlemen. So people telling you there's going to be like these, no, it's not. You don't need. First of all, these are civilians, and no, they wouldn't be charged with treason, no matter how treasonous you think they are. But just the public record alone is enough to indict Clinton and people around her. You think it's illegal for her lawyers to delete government records. And anything on her server was a government record because it was intermingled with top secret data. You think if you transfer top secret data onto your computer, you can just say, well, you know what? Those are my fantasy football emails. You can't. No. That's my computer. This is my fantasy football emails. So my live chat is awesome. All William Barr has to do is look at the public record, and that's it. So William Barr is going to be confirmed next week, February 7th. Not bad. I believe that's next Thursday, or Tuesday. Sorry. Oh no, Thursday, next Thursday. That's not bad. It's not bad at all. Barr does not need any Democratic support to be confirmed. Nice. Under rule changes that Democratic-led Senate adopted in 2013, only a simple majority of senators. Yes. I love it. I love it so much. Democrats, without the media and without the fundraising, without complete media collusion and immense fundraising advantages, they would cease to be a political party. They would not be a political party. For Democrats to exist even as a political entity, they have to have overwhelming advantages. If they don't have overwhelming advantages, you could just say goodbye to, the Democratic Party. And then they're like, oh, demographic shifts. No, there are more people of every single background that are moving towards Republicans, because Republicans used to be the moral arbiters, the arbiters of morality. That's why people didn't like them. Now they're like, you just do whatever you want. But we're going to bring home, a lot of them are bringing home our soldiers, not the establishment ones, but the Trump Republicans are like, yeah, bring home our soldiers. Peace between North and South Korea, restructure trade deals, focus on manufacturing. That's a good thing. These are all good things. Is he perfect? No, but is he more perfect than Clinton? Infinitely more perfect. Then you have, the only thing Democrats have are these like pseudo-intellectual theories that somehow never apply to liberals when liberals commit the same, acts of horrendous, whatever you want to call them. When they say and do things, it's like, oh my God, please forgive me. Roger Stone was not indicted on collusion. Okay. He pled guilty. He's not pleading guilty. Sorry. He's not pleading guilty to anything. No. There is no misprision of treason. That's ridiculous. And sedition is part. No. You can only be charged by a military tribunal if you're in the military. The Rosenbergs weren't even charged by a military tribunal, and they faced the death penalty. So, if you look at the Rosenbergs, conspiracy to commit espionage were put to death in the electric chair. So, that's one of the famous cases in the Cold War. That was by a judge. Just wasn't, the whole Gitmo thing was to get people online excited to believe that people on MySpace were speaking to them. But I don't know if I explained this. Kim.com, Julian Assange will be Hillary Clinton's worst nightmare. In 2015, he says there will be emails. Okay, he's referring to the WikiLeaks, DNC, and Podesta emails. How did he know in 2015? Maybe because he knew in 2015. Maybe because CrowdStrike and the Democratic Party and John Brennan are all lying. Maybe what they all went back into the past. It was Back to the Future. They time traveled. Did John Brennan time travel and then find out from Julian Assange and Kim.com in 2015 when Emily Chang was interviewing them for Bloomberg? The mega upload this is the article by Ali Elkin. The mega upload founder who faces charges of copyright infringement said the WikiLeaks founder will take aim at Clinton. It's right here. Hello? Hello? McFly? Hello? It's right here. It's right here. This is a Bloomberg article. Bloomberg article. Bloomberg. Dotcom. How did they know on May 14, 2015? How did they know? How did Kim.com know on May 14, 2015? This is public record. Here's the Bloomberg article again. It's public record. Public record right here. There's the Bloomberg article. And William Barr can simply say the Mueller probe is over. Write your report and that's it. That's it. Write your report and that's it. I mean, this nonsense cannot go into 2020. That's the only way they won the House is by lying to gullible voters, people I thought were a lot more intelligent than to believe Democrats, but whatever, and continuing a fabricated narrative. So, I mean, Republicans have to flip the script. There's so much criminal activity. There's so much criminal activity on the left. It's like seething with criminal activity, seething, not just with process crimes, with actual crimes. And when they begin to just look, you don't even have to have the fanaticism of Mueller. A special counsel we do need. But all you would need is just a basic look from people who are not James Comey, and then it's game over. And then it's absolutely game over. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very, very much. To my super chat, thank you. Albert Silva, thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, God bless. All you have to do is look at the public record. Fontini D, thank you. All you have to do is look at the public record. Eric H526, Ram Lafara, thank you. Everyone, thank you. Denise, thank you. Look at the public record. That's all you need. Check out my Daily Caller article, my Jerusalem Post article below, my RT Crosstalk segment. Check that out. It's below. And my latest segment on HA Second Amendment. If you enjoy gun channels on YouTube, definitely subscribe to HA Second Amendment. Thank you so very, very much. Thank you.